I do not want my mom to see my family until she can have a genuine apology/discussion with my wife. I've been married for 4 years now, and together with my wife for 10 years. She's gotten along well with my mother and stepfather during a majority of the time period. Even after moving away from our big city, my parents eventually followed and ended up 5 minutes away from us in their own home. In the past month, my pregnant wife and mom had a rare quarrel because my mom thought my wife would look like a burrito if she proceeded with a dress she picked out for a gala and tried very hard to make her wear another one. This offended my wife, and she explained 3 days later or so to my mom on text why she was upset. I asked if there was anything that made the comment particularly damaging, and she mentioned that the consistent comments about eating sugar and not bringing or needing certain foods to events like Thanksgiving the month before due to them being carbs and judgments about our daughter eating too much sugar all started to boil up, and that this was sort of a tipping point. Besides food, my mom during our weekends with her often spoke about her judgments about my sister who was estranged for a while from our family and came back with her kids. My mother and stepfather frequently enjoyed telling me and my wife all of their qualms and issues with them, including their lifestyle, bad parenting, and more. This is something they've started to do a lot of this year. Both my parents actually use their time with my wife and I to frequently criticize and gossip about my other sisters, their partners, and sometimes my cousins and aunts who take care of my mother's mother. We usually just listened. I stared at my phone often and never asked questions to try gently indicate I wasn't interested in engaging, but maybe this is my fault. Eventually, my mother texted an apology, but my wife could not bring herself to a response yet as she wanted to discuss further. My mother got aggravated and said she had said her piece already and asked why more was needed. I mentioned that some people need more closure by expressing in a conversation whether in person or on a call. In what I deemed to be in a sarcastic tone, she said, "Okay, thanks for telling me and letting me know this." My sister called me and let us know my mom vented to her about the situation and mentioned that my wife was being hormonal. The main reason my sister called me, though, was cause she also had an issue about my mom insulting her weight, and she also wanted an apology. My mom never really responded further, and we had not seen her for a while as we were busy with events outside the city and my wife needed space. We also have our child that sometimes sees my mom, so we called her up and mentioned we needed to have a discussion. She seemed happy we called as she got to see her granddaughter on FaceTime, but it was not the right time for the discussion because my grandmother, my mother's mother, was in town. So we used the time to peacefully chat, but acknowledged a more serious chat was in order. We waited again, and eventually I had to coordinate a call that happened more recently, the call that broke things further. On the call with my mom, my wife seemed to have a change of heart from her frustration and anger and began by explaining that she just wanted space and her way of coping is to just disengage for a bit, so she doesn't speak out of anger, which she was apologetic for. At this point, I noticed my mom had somewhat of a smirk on her face and seemed to be rolling her eyes, so I had to call it out. I think she mentioned that it must be cataracts or something, but it concerned me that her posture was so bad. My wife noticed too, and we remarked how we wanted to have this call to fix things and host Christmas where we were going to do a gender reveal for the whole family and how much it all meant to us. My mom didn't say anything bad, but the body language continued. She gave a very stiff apology and was like, "Fine, I'll just pull back and stop, no problem." We kept the call going, and I tried to lighten the mood and say, "You still love me, right, Mom?" At some point we kept talking and went on about how we wanted a positive environment for our daughter/her granddaughter. For some reason, my mom started a story about, "You guys don't realize how hard it was for me to raise my children." We clarified that we were trying to compare. She kept going, "Just me. Their father left, and I didn't have anyone." We asked her when to please stop as the tone was not good. She kept going, and then eventually my pregnant wife blew up and said, "She doesn't get it. I am done. Hang up." It ended with me consoling both women and trying to watch our kid. My mom was crying and I had to call her check-in, and my wife's pregnant anger was causing her stomach to contract. I spoke with my mom and stepdad about this, and they maintained that the apology was already done and confused why more was needed. I explained that a more genuine discussion with no guard or wall was desired. Because of my experience with my mom and stepdad, gossiping about my siblings and their partners and lifestyle, and one of them skipping family events frequently as a form of silent protest and my mom wondering why they aren't there, due to sweeping things under the rug. I don't want my mom to see my family as we've always done because I don't want my family to be gossiped about in the same way if she holds resentment and can't find the will to hash it out properly, as I feel like any relationship with just me or my kid will feel fake. My sisters all let things go with her, but I don't want to because I don't want to subject my family to this.